Is Tony Stark liberal or conservative? He's the man at the center of the biggest cinematic universe in history, so I think it's time we find out what type of ideology is underneath that iron suit. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is the biggest Hollywood franchise ever, surpassing James Bond, Harry Potter, and even Star Wars. At the center of this universe, the character that started it all is Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. Played famously by Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark made his first appearance in the film Iron Man 10 years ago and became one of the most recognizable superheroes around the world. Unfortunately for Tony, another Marvel character still holds the crown as being the most popular.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
No, I'm being serious.
Without a doubt, Tony has left his mark in cinematic history and has become a cultural icon. Since we know that movie characters can shape our culture, I think it's time we find out whether or not Tony is actually more liberal or more conservative. So disclaimer right up front, I've only read a handful of the Marvel comics featuring Iron Man, but for the sake of this video, we're going to be focusing on the movie portrayal of Tony Stark, because number one, more people have probably seen the movies than read the comics, and number two, I don't need a reason, so back off! We're going to be referencing the numerous appearances of Tony Stark throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so I'm going to issue a spoiler warning for those who might not be caught up yet, because who could blame you? I mean, we're like, what, 20 movies into this thing right now? To assess a character's ideology, we're going to need to focus on three key elements, which is personality, motive, and arc. To make sure everybody is clear, this is about the ideology of the character and not politics. And although I admit there might be some crossover between the two sometimes, ideas are more important than politics, but for those who insist on sharing the political views anyway, buddy, have a drink. Personality. Tony Stark has it all. If we had to describe him, he would be a
genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
There's very little the man cannot do. Among the Avengers crew, he's the sarcastic, wisecracking superhero we love to watch, but it gets him in trouble a lot.
Why shouldn't the guy let off a little steam?
You know damn well why. Back off.
Tony is self-aware when it comes to his own arrogance, but he's just being himself when it comes to his lavish lifestyle. When it comes to women, Tony is the playboy he does describe himself as, but he finds himself head over heels for Pepper Potts, essentially making him a one-woman man. Good for him, but I personally find that really hard to believe.
You ever lose an hour's sleep your whole life?
He's prepared to lose a few with you. Hey, does she come with a car?
Let's certainly hope so.
Read Latin, or you can write Latin, but you can't speak Latin.
Because she modeled in Tokyo.
Tony is a force to be reckoned with, so it's hard to see his personality being more reserved, so I'm gonna say it's more liberal. Motive. As the prodigal son of a famous inventor, Tony is motivated to create new technologies that can help better humanity. This has not always been the case because when we first meet him in the original Iron Man film, his ambition is motivated by vanity and greed, but more on that character arc later. Tony sees that his greatest strength is his mind and how his advancements in tech weaponry can bring a strong defense to the innocent. However, Tony's ambitions seem to get the better of him in the later films when he starts building authoritative robots such as Ultron.
Ultron. My fault.
But he also makes up for it with his vision. Yeah, I'm not really proud of that joke, but yeah, I'm gonna go with it. By the time we get to Captain America Civil War, he is a major proponent of government authority over the Avengers because he believes his actions with the Iron Man technology is too reckless without some sort of overwatch. Now look, it's pretty clear that Tony's tactics for protecting the innocent are more liberal in nature because he's supporting government overwatch policies.
I see a suit of armor around the world.
Sounds like a cold world, Tony.
But these actions are not his core motive. Rather, his motive is more entrepreneurial. He uses his talents, his inventions, and his own personal financial contributions to make the world a better place. So if we're basing this on the motive and not his actions, it's clearly more conservative. Arc. When we first meet him in the original film, he's a lavish playboy who sells WMDs to the military, but once he's captured by terrorists using his own weapons, turns over a new leaf. After building his Iron Man suit, the series focuses on Tony's journey of not only stopping bad guys, but how to be a better person. If we're not counting cameos, Tony Stark has been in 8 films, and it would be really hard to have a character appear this many times without some sort of arc. It's almost as if Marvel's done this before. Now every film tackles a different arc for Tony, but if we look at where he was 10 years ago versus where he's at now, it's not necessarily clear that he's changed a lot, or rather, it's clear that he's been through a lot, but it hasn't really shaped him into a different person. On the surface, Tony is the same guy. He's still arrogant, witty, and flashy, but his principles of right and wrong have undoubtedly shifted throughout the series. So accounting for both aspects, I'm gonna say the arc is a little bit of both. So with a final score of 2 and 2, I am gonna say that Tony Stark is equally both liberal and conservative. I mean, I guess that makes sense because he has been so popular with so many people. He's rich, he's smart, he uses cool tech weaponry, he fights crime, and he doesn't even have any superpowers. But enough about Batman.
I can do those things.
This is just my opinion, so if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more videos like this.